Imagine this. You live in a quiet suburb, minding your own business, and yet your neighbor is convinced your house is the loudest place on earth, even when you're thousands of miles away. Sounds crazy, right? Well, this actually happened to me, and the revenge at the end? Perfectly sweet. Before we dive in, hit like if you've ever had a neighbor who seemed impossible to please. Subscribe for more stories where clever strategy and karma serve justice in the most satisfying ways. Many years ago, I lived in a semi-detached house just outside Aberdeen in northern Scotland. The house was comfortable, quiet, and by all accounts, a lovely place to live. But across the garden, I had a problem. Let's call her Karen. She was a nightmare of a neighbor. Every little noise was a crime in her eyes, and she reported it constantly. Now, I'll admit, some of my noise complaints were not entirely baseless. I was a seafarer running ship engines for a living. And yes, ship engines are loud. Very, very loud. The problem? I spent about 8 months a year on merchant ships sailing across the globe, in Singapore, across Europe, the Atlantic, you name it. During that time, my house sat empty, absolutely silent. But did that stop Karen? Not in the slightest. She kept sending complaints to the local council. She was obsessed. And that's when it became clear this wasn't about noise. This was about control, about being an impossible perfectionist, about a hatred of anything joyful or lively. Karen wasn't just any annoying neighbor. She was a full-blown Karen. She called the police because children across the street were playing football in their garden. Imagine that, children in their own yard enjoying life, and she called the authorities. I watched from afar as she fumed at every minor sound. The mailman? Too loud. Kids laughing? Criminal. A breeze rustling the trees? Absolutely intolerable. It was infuriating and frankly exhausting. Even though I wasn't home most of the year, her constant complaints created a cloud of tension over my property. It was almost comical if it weren't so infuriating. And yet, I couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. Life has a way of balancing things, and I had an inkling that the scales might just tip if I played them right. Fast forward a few years, and life threw me a curveball. I had to put the house on the market. It was a tough decision emotionally and financially, but circumstances demanded it. In Scotland, houses are sold via silent auction with sealed bids. Normally, the house goes to the highest bidder. But here's the twist. The highest bid doesn't always guarantee the best outcome. I glanced at the 3 bids submitted. The highest was respectable, but there was one bid that caught my attention. The lowest bid came from a single mother, a genuinely lovely woman. She had 3 children, 2 with ADHD, and she was planning a loft conversion that would create a lot of noise and disruption. I looked at it, thought about Karen, and my lips curled into a quiet, knowing smile. This is perfect. Even if it cost me a few £1,000s, selling the house to this family would unleash chaos in a way only karma could orchestrate. Some might call it petty, some might call it cruel. But here's the thing. Karen had been actively making life miserable for everyone around her. Complaints, threats, unnecessary police calls. All because she hated joy, she hated children, she hated noise. And now, the universe was offering a chance to restore balance. I pictured it in my mind, the family moving in, children running through the house, building, renovating, playing. Noise everywhere, construction drills, laughter, footsteps, music. Every single day, Karen's carefully curated world of silent control would be shattered. I could almost hear her inner monologue. Why is it so loud? Why won't anyone respect me? I sighed, content. It wasn't just revenge. It was poetic. It was fair. It was perfect. The day of the sale arrived. I handed over the keys. The family moved in with a quiet joy, excited for the new chapter in their lives. I watched them unpack boxes, the kids running through the halls, the mother planning her loft conversion. And across the way, I imagined Karen's expression as she noticed the changes. The quiet street transformed into a lively, joyful cacophony. Doors slamming, laughter echoing, the occasional crash of a toy or construction tool. The exact things she had once tried to suppress with complaints. There was no confrontation, No confrontation was necessary. The simple fact of their happiness, their lives, their presence, and Karen's inevitable frustration was enough. The best part? I had orchestrated it subtly. It was silent revenge, elegant and unavoidable. I sat back and smiled. The house was sold, the family happy, and Karen? Well, let's just say her world had become exactly what she feared, lively, chaotic, and utterly uncontrollable. It felt good, not in a vindictive way, but in a deeply satisfying karmic justice way. Sometimes you don't need to shout, argue, or confront to win. Sometimes the best revenge is letting life unfold exactly as it should. Months later, I checked in with the new owners. They were thriving, the house was full of life, and as I suspected, Karen's complaints didn't stop. If anything, they increased. Her silent, tidy world was now dominated by laughter, noise, and joy she could never control. I leaned back, hands behind my head, thinking, this is what justice looks like. No words needed. No confrontation. Just life, perfectly balanced in favor of those who deserve peace and joy. The lesson? Karma doesn't need to be loud or dramatic. It can be subtle, elegant, and satisfying. And sometimes the greatest revenge isn't aggression, it's strategic, compassionate, and clever. Karen got what she earned, and the family got the happiness they deserved. Life finally made sense again. Have you ever dealt with a neighbor like Karen? Or had a situation where quiet strategy beat confrontation? Comment your story below. And don't forget to subscribe for more clever, satisfying revenge tales where patience, timing, and clever thinking win the day.